Goodfellas came out in the year 1990 and features the likes of Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta, and is directed by one of the biggest directors in the world, Martin Scorsese. This movie goes around the bushes and goes around the blocks of Henry Hill's life on top as a gangster and his lows of being a gangster, as it's Henry Hill's life of being with the Lucchesi family, and this is based on a real life account from the real Henry Hill and his life living with these people and growing up with these gangsters, and it's real insight to what these gangsters are like and what sort of things they get up to. And it goes through the wealth, the money, and the drugs, as we see Henry Hill loving life, spending loads of money, being luxurious with what he's buying. He's wealthy, he's rich, and he's enjoying the things he has. But the downfall for him is the drug addictions that he gets on, in which causes the whole thing to spiral out of control. So what I liked about this movie then is sort of the powerful story, if you must. And I'm just going to go through this a little bit as we see Henry introduced to the mob at a very young age. That's how the movie basically starts. Well, it actually starts off where he's beating a guy down, showing what he's yet to become. However, then it spirals into when he's a youngster with the likes of Joe Pesci's character at a young age, and others that are around him, and how he's introduced to the mob. It's so interesting, in my opinion, learning about Henry Hill's life and everything like that, and this shows it in greater detail, because after he meets the family, he's introduced to them. His family don't really approve, because Henry Hill his mum and dad weren't within the mob family or approved of the mob family at all. They were totally against it. However, when he grew older, he moved out and fucking started messing around with the mob and things like that. And it was great to see how he connected with the likes of Tommy and things like that, because he's not introduced to those people straight away. He's introduced to those over time, after he's trustable and after he's not good, and after he grows up and becomes more mature. He's able to talk to the likes of Tommy, Jimmy, and even Paul, who are really big names within this Lucchesi family, if you would, and you can clearly see that he gains a trust from these people, and they almost become like a family as such. And he becomes, after going to prison a few times or going to jail, I think, for the first time, he then becomes really good friends with the likes of Jimmy and the likes of Tommy, played by Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, as he able to bounce off them quite well. And obviously there's several cool scenes with these guys, and he really feels like that family mate sort of thing going on, until obviously after he gets married, in which is fantastic for Henry Hill's character, to Karen. He gets married to Karen, and everything seems to be going well for him. His life is the best it's ever been. He's wealthy, rich, and he's got one hell of a big family. However, that all seems to be going out of control when the heist happens, and when they kill off a made man, in which wasn't the best of ideas. And when this all spirals out of control, you can see the breakdown throughout, and this all then leads to the biggest thing in the movie that happens, which is Joe Pesci's character being killed off, or whacked if you must. And from that happening, that's where you go, oh shit, things are going downhill. And you can see a steady decline in everything soon as Tommy, his character, gets killed. As you see Henry Hill going off the rails a little bit with his drug addictions, you see Jimmy becoming more cautious and being a bit more worried about his position and whether he can trust people within his side and things like that, because Tommy was sort of like his right-hand man as such, and since his death, it sort of struck him quite badly. And then there was sort of this family that they were together started to break apart, and especially when the likes of Ray Liotta's character goes to prison, Henry Hill, they see a disconnection between them, and then it even gets to the point where the likes of Jimmy's character are thinking of killing Ray Liotta's character, and it's mad. It's so mad. And that's why Ray Liotta, after getting involved with the police several times over, they made an agreement. Oh, well, sorry, the FBI. The FBI made an agreement with him so that he can grasp all his family and friends in which he needed to do, and to be put in some sort of protection, witness protection system where he no longer is Henry Hill, and that he's now living a new life to protect him from these gangsters that could come and potentially kill him for giving away all this sensitive information. I mean, there's a lot more that goes on in this movie, but that's sort of like a really simplified version of what the whole movie is about. Because I could be here days talking about the whole plot, because it's so enjoyable and so great to get into. But this category of movie fits into only a bracket of movies, and that bracket is movies that you can pick up at any time, in any day, and watch from any part of that movie, and you're stuck and watching to the end. And in that category, in my opinion, there's probably more. You guys could think of more, but I put that in the category of the likes of Jaws. I put that in the category of the likes of Wolf of Wall Street, and Goodfellas is in that same bracket. There's not many in that bracket. Even the most legendary movies can only be watched from the beginning to the end, and you can still enjoy it just a one-time watch, but then you'll put it back on the shelf and not be able to pick that up for another two years, or some of them half a year or a few months later. Whereas this particular movie, it's like a monthly thing. It'll be like, oh, what is there on the telly? Oh, there's not on the telly, let's put Goodfellas, because you know it's going to be a classic. Or it'll be on the telly all the time, so then you'll be like, oh, it's on the telly, halfway through, I'm going to watch till the end, because it's just so fucking good. And that's, to me, one of the main things for watching this movie, as it's so entertaining. Also wanted to mention how good this movie as a whole was, breaking down into the cast and into the director. The director, starting off with him, was fantastic, and he was something that this story needed. A Scorsese type of movie, and this really helped him, cement himself as one of the all-time greats, in my opinion. He's made loads of movies before this one, I'm pretty sure, but this one, to me, is his best. But people can argue amongst themselves what is Scorsese's best movie. But for me, it's this one, as this one holds a special part in my mind and heart. That this is one of the best movies of all time, in my opinion. So to even compare other directors like Spielberg and things, he sits amongst them with no problems for me, as he is one of the all-time greats. I also want to mention how great Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci were in this movie. They were phenomenal. Honestly, on a whole new level. I also want to point out some of the other cast that you might not have associated with this movie, like likes of Samuel Jackson, the likes of Lorraine Branco, the likes of Paul Sorvino, Frank Vincent, and even Mike Starr, in which helped this movie gel together. As we know, the likes of Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci's chemistry in movies, in which is also phenomenal, but these sider characters, these smaller characters, can be the thing that nails the nail in the coffin. And for me, in my opinion, these just helped it gel together, and it was just sort of like glue acting to cement the story and cement this movie as an all-time classic. So to summarise this film then, this is one of the all-time great gangster movies and one of the best movies of all time. So hence why I've rated this movie a 9.4 out of 10 and a legendary film. Let me know down in the comments whether you agree or disagree with anything that I have said in this video. Also hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be alerted to all the new content this channel creates. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Laters.